All right, everybody, how about a round of applause for our author?
So thank you. When I first started to read about how to throw a launch party for your book, because I'm a first-time author, it said you needed an author speech. So I wrote this up, and I will go through this quickly. Okay. So, is this better? Okay. Okay, so I'm so honored to have all of you here with me. This is like a big milestone, and I want to first take a moment and thank the Berrymans, Bill, Orna, Noah, Tom, and they have two other sons called Elad and Guy. Thank you so much. This whole thing, Orna and Bill broke their backs to make this happen. So thank you so much. And Orna is a dear friend. She's a mentor. She's been a supporter of me at work. The first time I met her, she took me under her wings, and she's just been great. And I'm honored to feature you in the book. So I can't thank you enough, Orna. Okay, this is where it gets serious. So I'm sure all of you have heard of the great mathematician Ramanujan. He was my role model growing up as a young girl in India. For a very long time, I thought he fought racism alone to get his proofs published and get recognized by the Mathematics Society of London. But I was wrong. In reality, he had a lot of support. His wife sacrificed her life to make him successful, and most importantly, he had the support of a professor named G.H. Hardy, an eccentric mathematician from Cambridge University, who helped publish his proofs, who fought racism that was directed towards him, and who helped him become the youngest fellow of the Royal Society of London. Now, Steve Jobs was credited to be the driving force that turned Apple into the world's most valuable company, but Jobs didn't do it alone either, though he made us believe that he did. I have a thing for Jobs. But he always had a team of talented people helping him build Apple. So I believe that any accomplishment is never achieved alone. Numerous people are helping and supporting a person achieve their dreams and ambitions. So this book was not written by me alone. There are so many of you here with me tonight that helped me write this book. And so this celebration is to thank all of you for it. So in April 2016, I was having lunch with a friend of mine. It was one of those really tough days, and we talked about how we were stuck in our careers. But at the same time, we talked about women who were successful, and we knew women at VMware, our network. We talked about Dahlia Malki, Ann Holler, Mariana Tessel, Jocelyn Goldfein, Yanbing Lee, Jennifer Anderson, and Lily Chang. While we were rattling out these names, I said, it would be cool to know how they achieved this success. I am going to write a book about their stories. The moment I said out the words loud, it felt everything made sense. It was like the universe was asking me to do this. And so I went home and I told my husband, Jay, where is he? The guy in the red shirt, who, instantly he thought it was a great idea. If he shot me down that night, that would have been my glass ceiling, because things would have been hard every day if he said, hey, this was a terrible idea. But he was like, awesome, you should write this book, right? And so he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And he watched our young kids. So I have an 8-year-old and I have twins who are 4.5. And he watched them nights and weekends while I wrote. He was also my first editor. And it wasn't easy. They say don't do business with your spouse. Seriously. There were times when we're like, I don't think I want to be married to you anymore. But I deeply appreciate the care that he put into improving my rough manuscript while juggling his other responsibilities. Okay, now I have to turn this page. I'll be done soon, Orna. And I think what really helped was, while he was transcribing these stories, he put so much. He kind of internalized all these stories, and it really helped him because he was a stay-at-home dad for 7 years, and it was a choice he made. After transcribing the books and listening to the stories, he went back to work, and he felt just like the countless women who take a break in their careers and go back to work. It was the switch wasn't always smooth, but he really does some really cool things now, and he loves what he does. I want to thank Jambu. He's not here, but when I reached out to him, he was one of the people in my network, and I really wanted to interview somebody. I can't even remember. I reached out to him, and he was super supportive. Like, he didn't shoot me down at all, and that also helped. And he connected me to Anna, and Anna connected me to Patty, and Anna connected me to Telly, and so he just opened these doors. He actually also connected me to Chuck Robbins, the CEO of Cisco, and I actually sent Chuck an email, and it went into a black box, but. And I had several editors. Jay was the first, and then I had Erica DeSimone. She's in New York, and she assisted me when I first wanted to write the stories, and her feminist views and thoughtful insights were invaluable. And we had some really long, lovely conversations just about the book, and it was really great. My next editor, Haley Evans, was wonderful. My draft of the manuscript came together because of her prompting, prodding, and deadline. She was really very systematic. And she really helped me organize my thoughts around the stories. My fourth editor, trust me, I had a lot of editors. If you read the book, you'll know they wrote my book. Linda J, she was enduring and experienced. Like in the 80s, she wrote 2 articles for Women Engineer, which is very cool. A national magazine, that was published out of New York. And because she published work on women in technology, she really understood what I was doing. In fact, she sent me these 2 articles she wrote on these women engineers way back, and so that was really cool. And then I want to thank Pim. I haven't met Pim. This is the first time I'm meeting her. Can I just give her a hug? Oh my God. Can I give you a hug? Oh. I was hoping to meet you before the launch, but we just couldn't. Okay, so Pim, everyone who reviewed the book wrote to me and said, Pratima, I think it's Pam. I said, no, it's Pim. It's PM. So there's a footnote on how she got that name. It's actually a very cool name. A lot of people said it's Pam. I was like, no, it's Pim. So she came in. I don't know how many of you run a marathon, but she came in at the 26-mile mark, and she literally ran and walked side by side. I mean, if you read it and say, oh my God, this book reads so well, it's her. And all the women featured in this book, they were just amazing. So Yan Bing, I saw her at radio. I walked up to her. She's super approachable. I walked up to her and I said, Yan Bing, I want to write your story. And she's like, great, I'll give you some time, right? Everybody, I think every woman I walked up to and said, I want to write about you. They were awesome. There was one birthday party that I went to. My son has a friend. Her name's Dana Kramer. And I had a really hard time telling people I was writing a book. And so I walked in, and of course, Jay was super proud of me at that point. I hadn't written anything, and he was telling everyone I was writing a book. I walked in, and he told everyone I was writing a book. And I walked into this party, and everyone's like, when's the book coming out? And I was like, oh my God. And then Dana walks up to me, and she says, you're writing a book? You need to have LinkedIn women in there. I'm like, yes. And so she connected me with Erica and Annabelle and Sarah, who's in Germany right now. And the funny story is I went to a conference, and Erica was on a panel. And I was sitting there, and I was like, I want to interview her. And after the panel, there were all these women who wanted to talk to her, so I never got a chance to talk to her. So it was like so strange when Dana said, I should get connected to you. And, it's been great. And I follow her on LinkedIn, and she's doing some really amazing things that's actually having an impact. And my mentors, Mimi Hills. So I have a lunch date with her every month, and she's amazing. She gives me a lot more than I give her, and I want to give back to you someday. I really do. And Orna's been my mentor, and Sridhar Reddy, I don't know where he is, but he's not here. And to Shane Laurie, under whom, this is Shane, and he's important in my career because I stepped into a leadership role under him. And anyone who's transitioned from an engineer to a manager, you know that it's never, never easy. And so I intentionally chose Shane's team to ensure that I was supported by leaders I could learn from, because he built teams that had diversity of thought and opinion, as well as being blind to gender, age, and cultural differences within his groups. And so that experience was very significant to me, and his team is one of the best I've ever worked in. And as I lead and build my own teams, I aspire to lead as he does. I really do. And if I was still in his team, I probably wouldn't have written this book. So, because I would have never known. So maybe it was a good thing. No, I'm just kidding. And to my dear friends, Asta, Keith, Margaret's not here, Sajida, Kalyadan, where is she? She's right there. She's been my roommate. I've known her for like 20 odd years, and friends for life. Priya's not here, and Tia, I don't think she's here. She's here, yes. They've been my cheerleaders. They've, Asta reviewed a lot of the stories, and she's very detail-oriented, so it was not easy because she gave me a hard time. And I want to thank Michael, who is the legal and PR person at VMware, and he took a lot of care into reviewing my material, just to make sure I didn't say anything stupid. And he's really been supportive of me. He rallied for me with Betsy, and Betsy is the EVP at VMware, and he really, really supported me, and he continues to support me till this day. And I have a fantastic publishing team at Friesen Press. The video, if you watch the video, it was dramatic. And then I had a transcribing squad. So what I did was I interviewed these women, and I had people transcribe. And so Allison, where's Allison? Okay, so she transcribed. Tom really helped. So he was really detailed because he got all the ahs and ums. No, really. I was like, he didn't miss a word, right? I want to thank my sister-in-law, Miriam. Miriam's right there. And Ravi Soundararajan. So what they did was in the last minute, they reviewed my book, the entire book. She read the book in 4 days. And I kept giving Jay a half time because he hasn't gone through the whole book yet. And so she caught some really cool stuff. And I managed 3 teams at VMware, and all my 3 teams are here. Whoever's here, do you want to? They're all here. And, they've taught me so much through the years, and, I'm learning as a leader and getting better. And then my kids, Kian, Kyla, Zev, were not here, but, after I wrote the book, my older son said, "Mommy, the book's done. Are you going to spend time with me?" And I'm still not with him. And then, and this is the serious part. So as I researched for my book, I came upon really many disturbing facts, and I just want to name 2 here. First, every year, Fortune magazine releases its Fortune 500 list, which ranks major US companies by their prior year's fiscal revenues. So in 2014, we had female CEOs running 24 of these companies. That number dipped to 21 in 2016. But in 2017, we had some promising news. The number went up to 32 women, right? So in terms of percentages, we went from 4.2 to 6.4% in 1 year. But I still think the numbers are too low. Perhaps about 45% too low. In March 2014, a report by Judith Warner, a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress, she documented that at the current rate of change, equal representation of men and women at the top will not occur until 2085. So to help you internalize this fact, I am going to repeat it again. Equal representation of men and women at the top will not occur until 2085. And I hope this stops you in your tracks as it stopped me. That is, I'm on video, freaking 67 years from now, right? Even our youngest daughters will be retired by then. My daughter, who was born in 2014, sorry, I should practice my speech. She will not live in a world where there's leaders who are representative of the population until her 70s. So this realization broke my heart, and it strengthened my resolve to continue on this journey, because I wanted to create role models for my young girls, for my daughter, and I really want to hasten this process. right? So she experiences an equal representation of men and women in her 20s or 30s, and she does not need to wait until her 70s. And I wanted her to experience this for her whole life and not just at the tail end of it. So this was super, super, super important to me. And so I interviewed actually over 20 female executives. Most of them are here. You should meet them. And they told me inspiring stories of how they accomplished their achievements, what influenced them during their childhoods, who their mentors were, what successes and failures they experienced along the way. And as they spoke, a common theme kept emerging. It was persistence. And these women persisted in the face of gender bias, stereotype threat, imposter syndrome, and negative messages from the media and society. For instance, Patty Hatter, she's not here, but her first experience with limitations on what girls can do was in her freshman year at Carnegie Mellon, where she was working towards an engineering degree. She remembers this moment vividly. She met a young male student. At their first meeting, he said, "Patty, I consider you a friend of mine, so I'm trying to help you here. You must know this, but girls don't do engineering. Before you waste your money going down this path, you should think about your alternatives." Patty, who feels lucky, like she's had a lucky life because she was constantly encouraged. And you should meet Patty. She's like, nothing bothers her, right? So she basically said, "Thanks for the input. I think I'm good, but I appreciate your concern." And she ended up on the dean's list, while her friend failed out of school by spring that year. Go Patty. But luckily for Patty, this message didn't deter her, but for most girls and women, they're not so lucky, right? And so but they still persisted. They went past this. So I'll just talk about my journey. But my journey writing this book, it was not easy because it was hard for me to consider myself an author. I am known for my skills as a technologist and a leader. Writing's never been a skill that I've felt comfortable about. It's never been my forte. Though I spoke English at home, I never took a grammar class. I really, really didn't. So Pim helps with all the grammar. It was really bad. Now I have Grammarly. That helps. So this was really hard for me, writing this book, and I suffered a lot of imposter syndrome. It was so bad to the point that I never told people that I was writing a book. My friend for 20 years didn't know. I just threw it at her one day. I said, "Hey, I wrote this book." She's like, "What?" But what got me through the imposter syndrome was, was just stories in the book. Telly Whitney, the great Telly Whitney, she felt like an imposter when she went to Caltech because her studies had not prepared her for the rigor of the school. And she said, "I spent the first year sure that someone would find me out and that I didn't belong." She had the same feelings when she took over the Anita Borg Institute. She said, "I felt I wasn't good enough. I think I live with that feeling today. In our field, you're making huge decisions about taking that next step, and you're also trying to take on more. It's easy to feel that you just don't belong." So how does she overcome these feelings today? She said, "The strength that has served me well over the years is to just show up. I just put one foot forward. It's just perseverance." And the other lesson that will help me today get through the speech, get to the tail end of it, I'm sorry, is what Elena Percival talked about in her story. So she had to tackle some internal work to justify herself to the position of CEO, right? She had to justify that. And two issues lay in the way because of the organizational structure of Women Who Code is flat. She felt everyone automatically knew to ask her questions. And so giving herself any sort of job title seemed unnecessary. Also, she was quite sensitive to the fact that while she was working to encourage women to become software engineers and even CTOs, I didn't know that, she did not have the level of technical training that they had. And so these factors intersected to make her ill at ease at the thought of taking the title of CEO at Women Who Code. But she was, in fact, running an organization aimed at empowering women in software engineering. So she came to realize that she needed to step up and empower herself to claim the reality that she was the leader. I knew that by stepping up, I would be bringing more people with me instead of pushing other people down, and I had to justify it to myself, she said. This was her way of combating imposter syndrome. And although at times she still feels awkward with the CEO title during speeches, she forces herself and she says, "I am Elena Percival, and I am the CEO of Women Who Code." She's gradually becoming comfortable with the title, just saying it aloud, also helped her improve her perception and standing. She said, if I'm not willing to put my title on my LinkedIn page or my resume, how can I ask others to do it? So today, I stand in front of all of you and say, I am Pratima Rao Gluckman, and I am the author of this amazing book. And thank you. And enjoy the rest of the night. I was waiting for the speech to get over so I could get drunk. I mean, people who know me know that, I love to drink. So thank you.
So, what do we do about it, if I may, is we just pick a person and become their sponsor or their mentor. It doesn't take a revolution. No one has to start an institute of women in tech here. Just one person at a time. And that's how we continue. There's a saying in Hebrew that says, he who saves a life saves the entire world, Hametzil nefesh achat metzil ulam kulo. And this is what we're doing. So just one at a time, pick a girl or a school and do something for them. Beyond your kids, which we obviously do. And we, of course, help each other's kids. So I'm expecting resumes of all these beautiful girls here very soon, 5 years from now. But anyhow, so thank you for coming. And what I'd like you guys to do is please eat a lot. And the food is warm and ready. And there's seats here. Desserts on the right, drinks are on the right, and non-alcoholic drinks and waters here. And mingle and find out about each other. And enjoy the evening. Thank you.